So this is the new segment. I have an idea. Hey, I have an idea.
Apparently, yes.
Do you remember how last week we talked about how there was a lost cold open?
Yes.
Well, here you go. In the Talkin' to Todd system, the toddlers are represented by two separate yet equally important groups. Todd, who investigates idiots, and Dwayne, who tries to make dad jokes about them. These are their stories.
That's pretty good. I think we, because he used the music, though, I think we owe Dick Wolf like $10,000.
for a half second of content.
That's how you make the money in TV.
No, but I thought here for our 100th episode, I thought that would be a nice thing to do for the open. How about that? Hey, toddlers! Welcome to Talkin' to Todd, a weekly podcast with Dwayne Johnson and Todd Prinz. Welcome to our 100th episode. Hey, Todd.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad. Just living the dream, working from home.
Dream? Okay.
Those are crappy dreams you're having.
Yeah. We should get you some melatonin or something so that you're we need to knock you out. Mama said knock you out.
From Mama's Pharmacy.
Yes. So what is this? You sent me something in the mail.
Yes. So in honor of our 100th episode, because I didn't think we were going to get here, I wanted to commemorate it, and who knows if there'll even be 101. So here's the thing: when doing a podcast, like, we put the files out there and you can go download them or whatever, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's a little ephemeral, which is Latin for waste time every week. I think that's right. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think, yeah.
10 lawyers in the room? Nobody has post hoc ergo proctor hoc? What?
So anyway, I thought we should have, yes, I've got a throw pillow, I've got the mugs, I got the t-shirt. I mean, it's like I went to Disneyland in Talking to Todd. But I thought that there should also be at least one other thing sort of tangible. So you've got a sealed box and I have a sealed box. So let's go ahead and let's unseal the box and see what I ordered. Oh, that's good Foley work there. That sounded like you were actually cutting it. It's amazing what you can do with 2 coconuts.
That's cool.
You like that?
I do. That's some solid work. Very nice.
So that's the so for the audio portion, that's the show art printed on a 5x5 piece of glass, suitable for it's all ready to hang on the wall, or it comes with a stand. And I would say this was courtesy of our friends at Fracture at fractureme.com or fracture.me. But insofar as I went to the webpage and ordered it, and they were happy to sponsor it as long as I gave them an Amex. So it's our good friends.
Yeah, but right there next to the framed Talking to Todd logo that I also have.
Yes.
Behind it's a little Talking to Todd shrine back there. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's really cool.
Well, and I will say this: there's the reason why I did this is I listen to a number of podcasts, right? And a few years ago, this was a thing that a bunch of the podcasters who were being sponsored by this company all said, "Hey, you know what I do? The 17 different podcasts I do, I have the show art made of these, and then I lined them all up so I have like a tangible thing of all of my shows." and some of them are also application developers. So they have the icon of the application they've developed, so they can have that. And I thought, hey, the professional podcasters do this. You know what? I think at 100, I mean, we're still not professional because, we're sponsored, but we're not professional. But at least I can say, yes, we now follow the things that the that the professionals do, except for the good content, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
The ad revenue,
Right.
the quit your real job and do this full time. Yeah.
All
All of those things, none of which we do. Okay.
Do in-person events with 3,000 to 4,000 people, selling tickets, speaking at conferences to tell people how to do it. Yeah, all of that stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
But we do have a 5x5 piece of glass with our logo on it now, so we're on our way.
And a convention and a second convention coming up this summer. So.
Yeah, and our own awards show. So really, we're starting to nail it.
It only took us 100 weeks. doing it well. Oh, or at least doing it often. If you can't do it well, at least do it often. Isn't that how the phrase goes?
I think that's it. I think that's.
Oh, God. Oh,
there's the tagline for the show: 100 episodes, whether you wanted them or not.
Okay. How about feedback, follow-up, and updates?
Sounds good.
Okay. According to Toddler -18, Minnesota also names their snowplows. And they're having a contest right now. Unfortunately, they've already passed the nomination phase. They're just at the voting phase, right? Because otherwise, Toddy McTodd Plow would be nominated.
Okay, well, you know what? Maybe next year. Maybe
there's always next year, right? Bills fans? Too soon?
Oof. Yeah.
The other note from Sarah, she hasn't watched Station 11 that you referenced last week in What You're Watching.
Yes.
But she does remember reading the book and remembers thinking you should only be allowed so many coincidences when writing a story about the apocalypse. Apparently, too many things just came together too easily.
Okay. Yeah. I guess what I would say is just listening to another podcast that was mentioning how good of a show it was, right up until the point where, again, it's your mileage may vary. One of the people who watched it said, I didn't really like that episode. And then asked his wife, who read the book, and she goes, oh, yeah, that wasn't even in the book. Like, that's just made up out of whole cloth. So maybe they fixed some of those problems. Now, they may have introduced other problems. I don't know. I will tell you, in the last week, there was this conversation in our house. I don't know. You want to watch another episode of Station 11? Okay. Well, I'm sure there's a train video on YouTube. So we may not get to the end of it.
That was almost, I'll get to this later, but that was almost the same conversation we had after watching the first episode of Peacemaker. Yeah, I won't subject you to any more of that. Really? We're watching this? No, we're not. No. Let's see. Did Lisa have any other feedback besides Station 11? No,
you know what?
No.
She did. Mostly. Again, I think she said you said some funny stuff. I don't. Hey, there was some funny stuff. Was it me or Dwayne? It was Dwayne. And I don't. There was some. I don't. I missed.
You don't take those notes.
Yeah.
It was the dad. Yeah. Was it the dad jokes? Was it the dad jokes that she enjoyed? Because we've gotten feedback that there should be more dad jokes.
Okay, your feedback to the show doesn't count, Dwayne.
You would think after 99 of these, I would figure that out. But, you know, Amy's feedback, Amy finally got to the point where we started talking about Tech Corner and the other Tech Corner.
Yes,
That,
yes.
that that's how far behind she is.
Todd's Tech Corner and Dwayne's Tech Corner. Two different things.
Todd's Tech Corner, Dwayne's Technical Corner is how she thinks we need to call those.
Okay.
We got Tech Corner, we got Technical Corner, and never the twain shall meet.
Although, you know what I'm thinking now that you say that, though, we're missing an opportunity because before we go to both, you know what the introduction should be? Let's tee it up. No. Okay.
I can serve you some tea.
Oh, yeah. That's
No.
You know what?
No.
I am desperately, well, you read the next bit of feedback. I'm going to desperately look to see if there is a HomeKit / Alexa / Google Home enabled window shade so we can have tea and shade. Okay. Hold on. Yeah. No. What else we got?
Greg and Sherry both provided feedback on the space content.
Yes.
we had one vote for and one vote against.
We had an attribution problem, right?
Well,
we had
yes,
an attribution correction.
Yes. A vehement correction. Let's call that out. Yes.
Yes.
Do not.
I don't know what it means when you capitalized letters, but that's what we got.
Do not, under any circumstances, mistake Sherry for looking for more space content. She is not. That is not. Yeah. Not in her orbit. Maybe. However, Greg says feed him all the space content you want, and he's good with that. So, yeah, one vote for, one vote against, which cancels each other out?
Nope. All I heard was one vote for, so.
And
we got rocket talk coming up.
Fly me to the moon. I've been told I can't sing. Sorry.
I don't want any more feedback on that. That's been clear.
No. Oh, it's been very clear. I'm not paying any attention to the feedback, but we've gotten feedback on it. Apparently, earlier this week, the new satellite,
the James Webb Space Telescope.
Thank you, because I wasn't going to remember that.
Yes,
parked itself at L2 at approximately 1:00. And was it Greg's comment that said so at about noon? It was just outside LaGrange.
I believe that was, yes.
I got to appreciate the dad jokes there. It's pretty good. So we had that. Doug from the Idiot Toddlers. Thanks to my review of American Underdog, Doug now absolutely refuses to go see it. He's a UNI alum, and he's boycotting on principle.
Go Panthers.
Yep. Right? You can't tell the story of Kurt Warner and UNI football without the Unidome. You just can't do it, he said. So he's boycotting on principle, and he will not go see the movie. I was apparently fairly worked up about this.
Oh, yeah, that was some feedback I got back from Lisa was, wow, Dwayne really hated that. And I said, yeah, we need more of that energy on this podcast. I mean, that was excellent. Yes.
Yeah, I was pretty fired up.
I mean, I was just thinking about that. When I heard that, I was like, man, because they just made crap up in the movie anyway. What a beautiful thing. Like when he went to go take his first start in the TWA dome, they could have even had a scene where Dick Vermeil is like, son, is this you're going to be thrown indoors, right? So don't let that throw you off. And he could have said, sir, I've been preparing for this for my entire life.
Right?
Yeah.
Nope.
There you go.
Nope.
No. Oh well.
So there's that. Where do we want to go? Idiots first or main topics first?
Let's go. Let's cover some idiots. Yeah. I'll start, and you've got some in here. Okay. This is just high level idiotitude. Have you read about the small labor case with the hospital chain ThedaCare in Wisconsin?
I have not.
Okay. So ThedaCare is a hospital chain in Wisconsin, as is there's another chain up there called Ascension. ThedaCare has a interventional cardiovascular team that it's 11 people on this team. 7 of them have put in their resignations, and they're all going to the competitor Ascension. So ThedaCare, seeing that 7 of the 11 people are leaving for what seems to be better jobs, potentially with better pay, potentially with better benefits, potentially, they did the only thing that you would do in a free market, and that is they filed a lawsuit to stop Ascension from hiring any of them on the day that on the day that 2 of them were supposed to start. Yes, the look on your face says, "Wait, what? How can one company sue another company to stop them from hiring people?" Is Wisconsin not a right to work state? It is a right to work state. You can fire anybody you want for no reason. However, if an employee leaves, apparently you can try to sue the people that are hiring them. So ThedaCare filed this on a Friday. Yeah.
Did they sign non-compete clauses?
Nope. Nope. No.
Huh. Oh, this seems interesting.
Here's their argument in front of the judge. Hey, we're a level 2 trauma center. Without a fully fledged team, we're going to have problems keeping our accreditation. And we believe that Ascension recruited these people away from us. And so we need you to tell Ascension that they can't hire any of them until we have time to go out and hire and fill all these positions. Until that time, those people have to keep working for us because we are providing a critical need to the community. The Ascension lawyers said, we didn't recruit anybody. We posted them and people responded. And then they interviewed a number of the employees, and they all said, here's what happened. The one person filled out an online form, saw their job was open, and it actually wasn't. He didn't want even more money. They have a bigger team, and you spend less time on call, and so he wanted more time at home and less time on call. And then the offer they gave him was significantly better than he expected. So he accepted it. And then what did he do? He went back to work and said, "Hey guys,
guess
you
what?
wouldn't believe what they're paying." And 6 other people said, "I got to get me some of that." And so they applied. Yes. And Ascension pointed out, ThedaCare could have offered more money. They could have hired more people to make the on-call rotation better. They actually declined to offer any more money to any of their people. They just sued to stop them. So that went on Friday, so the people couldn't start work. And then on Monday, a judge heard it, and a judge basically within about an hour dismissed the whole thing, saying, "Yeah, that's not the way free market works here. You needing to provide service is kind of a you problem, not the employee's problem. They're free to go wherever they want to go." Case dismissed. Got rid of the temporary restraining order. So anyway, yeah, capitalism works both directions.
Which is ironic because there are those of us who believe that healthcare shouldn't be a for-profit capitalistic mechanism anyway. But
if it is,
then
all right. What else? What do you have for idiots?
Did you see Grayson Allen is back to his old Grayson Allen tricks?
Oh, I would make a strong case that he's back to new Grayson Allen tricks, because before he just tripped people. Now he's taking them out of the air.
And injured a Bulls player breaking his wrist, who will be out 6 to 8 weeks. Grayson, for that, gets a 1 game suspension. I don't remember whose idea this was, and perhaps it was yours. And I believe this was an NHL suggestion. But if you injure someone, the rule suggestion that I believe was made was if you injure someone and they go out due to injury that you caused, you are then out for as long as they are out. If they're out for 4 weeks, you're out for 4 weeks.
I would say you're out for 4 weeks plus your punishment.
Sure.
So, and a game.
And a game. 4 weeks and a game.
So I saw that, and this goes down a whole other rabbit hole that we won't go down. And people are like, oh, please, no more sports. Well, hang on, we may have other stuff, but there is something there. This is me. I'm obviously getting older, and I'm getting more cynical watching sports. But there is something about sports that because I watch a lot of sports. There's something about this that is really just really making me just so uncomfortable. Is there's this idea in sports that if in most sports injuries may happen and it's nobody's fault. That's part of the game, right?
Sure.
People can collide and it's not a foul, it's not a penalty.
Incidental
Somebody can come,
things
right.
happen. Yes.
When you play, whether it's pickup basketball or in the NBA, there is a risk of physical danger. That's fine. Everybody who plays understands that. But there's also rules to protect players. If you violate those rules, then the punishment is a game suspension or a fine or whatever. But the player who got fouled, they bear the entire burden of the outcome. And it is basically, here's the thing, it's quasi-socialism at this point, right? Which is the person that causes the problem doesn't bear the cost of the problem. It's whoever, you know what? If I take you out of the air in a completely dangerous way and you're now out for 6 to 8 weeks, not my problem. Well, it is, because if you hadn't have done that, that would have been like, that's on you. You caused it, but you don't have to bear the burden. I also see this there's this thing watching a lot of soccer, right? People go up to head the ball and they put their elbows out and smash people in the face. And they're like, oh, that was incidental contact. When you jump, you got to put your elbow up to protect yourself. Like, no.
No.
Your elbow is your responsibility. Well, he has to. No, he doesn't. Matter of fact, if you jumped right now, do your elbows go straight out at a 45-degree angle? Like, nobody jumps that way. Yeah, so it doesn't surprise me, but yes, Grace, now what was really terrible though was the video after the guy gets taken off the court with a broken wrist. Grayson's on the bench giggling about it and laughing. I don't know if you saw that. He thought it was pretty funny. And then the Bucks issued a statement saying that they thought after they don't even understand why it was a flagrant 2, let alone a suspension, and they think that that's ridiculous. And my thought, what I told Lisa was watching this, I'm like, here's the problem. And this is, I don't know why if the league doesn't take care of this, the players will. And if that's legal, if that's only a 1-game suspension, and by the way professional sports work is, guess what? If that's legal and you can take out one of the top players of the Bulls, fine. You don't retaliate against Grayson Allen. On the Bucks, the next time Giannis Antetokounmpo, reigning MVP, I believe, goes up, you take him out of the air and you take him out for 6 to 8 weeks. And then you look at Grayson and you wave, and then you say, I'll take my 1-game suspension. And that's what the NBA has set up, because that's the rules that we've been given to play by.
Yep.
Oh, so angry. I feel like we need a good Scott Frost thing right now just to cleanse the palate. But anyway.
Quick hitters?
Let's see. Yeah, a couple of quick hitters. Did you hear about the arrest warrant that was sent out for a ship?
Didn't pay the fuel bill? Is that what I saw? I don't know that I read the
Yeah,
article. I read the headline
yeah. So
and maybe the
Crystal
stub.
Cruises, yeah,
Yes.
Crystal Cruises, which is run by a company out of Hong Kong. Anyway, they hadn't paid their fuel bill, which was like $4 million, and they were already under financial. Yeah. It wasn't just for this ship one time. It wasn't like they pulled up to a port, gassed up, and left. Right? Like this was like $4 million for multiple ships over multiple times. Anyway, um, the people who own the fuel went to a U.S. court and got U.S. Marshals. Basically, they literally, it was said in the paper. I don't think this is the technical term. They issued an arrest warrant for the ship because the people that had the fuel asked the U.S. Marshals to seize the ship because they were going to take it and then sell it for the fuel bill. Um, the ship was due into dock into Miami, and as soon as they heard that the ship was going to be seized, they announced to the passengers, congratulations, you're getting an extra free day on the ship. And they turned and went, I believe, to Bimini. Anyway, they basically, yeah, there were people on the ship who all had travel plans, and the ship basically kidnapped them and didn't let them off, and then went to another port where the ship wouldn't be seized. I'm just wondering, like, do you have to read the rights to the ship? Right? Like, yeah. There's that one. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I have listed because this is just like me. I'm throwing this stuff out there. The Pussycat Dolls were supposed to be doing a world tour. I assume you knew all about this because you probably had tickets for multiple events.
Yeah, I was gonna follow the Pussycat Dolls
Yeah.
across the country. Yeah, I was planning
Yeah.
on taking 3 weeks off. All of my I was gonna burn all of my vacation this year to follow the Pussycat Dolls. PCD and PCD.
Yes. Yes. Nicole Scherzinger posted something that said, thanks to everyone who had tickets to see PCD. We're so appreciative. With the ever evolving circumstances around the pandemic, I understand the decision that the tour dates had to be canceled. I have invested a huge amount of time, creativity, energy in my own life. I'm so sorry. I can't put it into words. Amount of love. Stay safe. Love and blessings, Nicole. She posted that. I don't know. Did that go to Instagram? I'm assuming. Anyway, do you know who didn't know that the Pussycat Dolls tour was canceled before Nicole announced this on Instagram?
Jeopardy answer here. What is everyone?
More specifically, who are the rest of the Pussycat Dolls?
Yes. Yeah.
Nicole announced that the tour was canceled, and the rest of the people who were going on the tour didn't know that it was canceled until it showed up on Instagram.
And they all went, wait, what?
Huh? You know, I'm just getting a sense that there's a little bit of tension. There's some creative tension at play.
Creative differences were creative. She's different. Yes. Nicole, maybe the world doesn't all revolve around you. Oh no, apparently this one does. This one clearly does.
At
Yeah.
least the PCD universe does.
Yep.
And then the last, by the way, Nicole Scherzinger gets the nominee for idiots there for not telling her band members that she's canceling the tour. Last one, this one straight from a lawsuit. The producers of Yesterday are being sued by California resident Michael Rozza. So in October, he watched a trailer for Yesterday. That included a scene in the movie that included Ana de Armas.
Yes.
Yes.
Bond girl. She was in Knives Out. Yeah. Ana de Armas.
Yeah. He's proposing a class action suit because the film that hit theaters, none of this makes any sense. Oh, he rented it. So he saw a trailer for it in October. He rented the movie, that was released in June of 2019. Watch the entire movie. Do you know who's not in that movie?
Anna de Armas?
Yes, exactly. So he watched the trailer and said, I like her. She's good. I'm going to rent this movie because she's in it. He watched the entire movie. She's not in it because the scene that they used, they cut from the movie and never appeared. And he's now filing a lawsuit for, because it's false advertising to show a person in a movie, and he spent good money, and that person wasn't in the movie. I'm not even sure who I'm rooting for here. Right? Like on one hand, I go, are you really suing over this? And on the other hand, I think he's got a point. I mean, you you did say that this was the movie. This is I have experienced this slightly. Lisa loves Russell Brand, and a number of years ago, he did a movie, Get Him to the Greek.
Yes.
And we saw the trailers for it. And there is one thing. It's not it's funny and it's physical comedy, and Russell's doing this whole thing. And so we go watch the movie, which we would have gone to watch the movie anyway. Decent movie. But at the end of it, I said, you know that part that we said was so funny in the trailer? She goes, uh-huh. I'm like, that was never in the movie. And she goes, oh, yeah, that's right. That was the funniest thing we saw. Like they sold the movie, hey, come see this. Oh, but not that. Anyway. I mean, I didn't sue. I just said, okay.
But do you remember, what was the name of the Star Wars movie that was set just before New Hope?
Rogue One.
Yes. Do you remember the preview for that has her out on the bridge and the ship comes up behind her in the trailer?
Yes.
Yeah, that scene doesn't happen in the movie. And it's a great scene. She's on and you see this thing rise up from behind her and you know she's screwed. Yeah, no. Yeah, that didn't happen in the movie. Just happened in the trailer.
Yeah. And in all of that, you're like, okay, they cut a scene or whatever. But then you go, but if you went to go see this actress and the actress isn't, like, once you say, hey, by the way, she's in this movie, like, is it my responsibility to go check your work with IMDb? There you go.
Does the ruling come down, just let it be? Is that the ruling that comes? Maybe we should all just come together.
You got to get back to where you were before. We should stop this because otherwise this goes on.
You don't have to sue her. She loves you. But if he wins the lawsuit, you can guarantee that he's going to have a ticket to ride. I'm just going to put that out there. I really think that that's true. Too many Beatles songs. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Yesterday, good movie. Because for the record, yesterday, very good movie. I enjoyed it.
All right. Okay, so that closes out the idiots. We're basically through the end of the show. This one's going to go a little long.
It's our 100th episode. I think with our 100th episode, we can go a little long. I think we're just going to do
it. Speaking of, this is our 100th episode, which we talked about a little earlier in the show. We had this question when we started recording of, hey, are we going to do anything interesting? I did reach out to Bradley Cooper to get a celebrity welcome. I think it must have gone into a spam folder. Yeah. You know, so a number Bradley of podcasts. Yeah, he didn't respond.
No, that's too bad.
Yeah. Should have ordered a cake. Forgot to do that. So we did have one suggestion when we started throwing this idea around. Lindsay said, you know what you guys should do? You guys should play episode 1. The Phantom Menace. No, I mean our episode 1. Yeah, different one.
Nobody
Although
wants to see that either.
both of the same quality, actually. Yeah. It's problematic in so many ways. Anyway, I believe you unearthed some of the audio, and you were going to play some of it. And the goal was you're just going to play a minute or two, and we're going to sit here and listen. You've heard this while preparing. I have literally never heard this ever before because you haven't shared this with me. I was there for the recording and I don't really remember it. So we're going to let this play for just the first episode of Talking to Todd, which, by the way, when was this recorded?
I believe this was October of 2007. So we're now 15 years later.
Oh, that's good. Well, I'm sure it'll be topical. So yeah, we'll go ahead and play, and the first one of us that can't handle it anymore, we'll just wave and then we'll bail out.
We'll tap out.
Yeah. So I guess here's episode 1.
Welcome to Talking to Todd. I am your co-host, Dwayne Johnson.
And I'm Todd.
And so that's what we're doing. We're just doing kind of what I've been doing for the last, 30 years or so, more than that now. And you know, what a whole bunch of us actually do. What are you doing?
Not too much.
I'm talking to Todd, and he's talking to me, and so now we're recording this. We decided to roll this out as a podcast, mostly for our own entertainment, but we figure we've got a world listening audience of about 5. So if you're one of 5,
On a good day.
welcome. You want to run through the rundown a little bit, what we think we're going to talk about, and then a whole bunch of other stuff?
So we're thinking about some reminiscing about RegBry.
Yes.
And then we have a tribute to the Bush administration's war on terror. And then followed up by the heavy hitting important stuff, the big topics of the day, the world of sports, which is much more important than any of the war on terror stuff.
Absolutely. You gotta have your priorities.
Exactly. Although we're putting them last, so I don't know if that really makes them a priority, but you know, it works well.
We're doing RegBry on request.
Yes, it's our pilot show, and we already have a request, which is quite interesting. It may be a first in the history of podcasting that people were actually demanding content from us before we actually even created any content.
Our reputation precedes us.
Yeah, in so many ways. So we're reminiscing about the first reg. Well, I guess that's all relative. The first RegBry I went on, and that request came from my Aunt Sue, who stumbled upon us on the internet and was looking for valuable RegBry information / reminiscence.
I still actually have the bike that I rode on RegBry, and this was probably 1984.
86.
Was it okay? I knew I wasn't riding yet. My bike rode it everywhere. I mean, I will fall, but
Yeah,
Todd's tapping out.
I'm out.
Oh.
Okay. I took some official notes as I was listening to this, just so that I could.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
I did too.
My first note says Apollo 11. Because the audio, the only time I've heard audio worse than that literally sounds like we're part of the Apollo space program. People who were circling the moon had better audio. We can see the Sea of Tranquility. Oh yeah, that's really good there, Buzz. Like, I don't.
Well, we were on cell phones from 2007 talking on a free conference call line that was being recorded. And that's how we got that audio. That was how techie we were back then. We both called into a conference call line and I pushed record.
I'm serious. You should probably find a little bit of Apollo audio to stick at the end of this show side by side. And you're going to know, I've listened to a lot of Apollo audio because space, right?
Right. Yes.
Are you with me, Greg? Yes. I've listened to enough to literally think the only thing we were missing is the beeps and the over.
So here's a note. As I remember it, when we recorded that very first episode, I was on the road for work in Dubuque, Iowa. This week I'm in Boston.
Well,
what else you got?
That's the piece that concerns me, actually, is okay, the audio, fine. I also wrote another note, obviously unedited, because you do a good job of dropping out all of the awkward pauses we have before we release it. Now, we're not any better speaking about it. We're just more polished on the edit. So thank you for that. But the rest of it, I went, oh my goodness, it's still the same show. We were at that point totally unprepared. I mean, we have a rundown now. The topics, I mean, we got in Ragbri, okay. The other podcast,
yes.
The general topic of sports, yes.
Yep.
And we even managed to name check Aunt Sue.
And estimated our total listening audience of about 5, plus or minus. Sure.
Yeah. So those were my notes. Was, oh my goodness, 15 years later, we're still doing the same thing. Minus the edgy discussion on George Bush's war on terror.
Yeah, nobody needs to hear that. Nobody, trust me, nobody needs to hear that.
By the way, did you have any other notes?
No, you and I had almost exactly the same notes. I do have a real-time follow-up right here. I mentioned that I still own, 15 years ago, I still owned the bike that I rode on that Ragbri.
Yes.
I still own the bike that I rode on that Ragbri. I purchased that bike on June 9th of 1986 before we went on Ragbri in July.
I was going to say June 9th and Ragbri is the last week of July.
Yes.
Way to prepare.
Oh, I had a bike before. You had
to get a good one.
I had this bike that we bought from the Des Moines police auction that I refurbished. And that was the bike that I rode around for all of junior high and half of high school. But the reason I know that it was June 9th of 1986 was I found the receipt in the original operator's manual.
Ooh. And where did you buy that bike from then?
The Spoken Wheel Cyclery. Of course I did.
Right there on Washington. Yes.
Right. Yep. And I paid $197.55, including tax. So compared in adjusting for $1986 to today, that bike today would have cost me $501.77. It's no $14,000 electric bike, but it is something. And I still have it.
You amortize that over 30 years. I mean, that's a very low payment.
Oh, I got my money's. I have gotten my money's worth out of it. It needs new tires, I think.
Don't we all?
Don't.
I don't even know what that means. It just sounds funny.
So there's that. So thank you to Lindsay for suggesting that we go back into the way back machine. That was fun. So if anybody desperately wants to hear episode 1, maybe we'll play some more when we get to episode 250. I don't know. I think once every 100 episodes is not long enough. Would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, we should have set the bar pretty well out there. I mean, to make it sound like we're going to hit it, but we're not going to hit that, right?
Yeah,
Like we got to, yeah.
we got stuff to do. What else do we have on main topics? So what are you watching then?
So, I'm starting a new idea that we're going to talk about what we're watching after we finish it and not when we start it and don't complete it. Because I keep talking about all the series we're starting and then abandon. So I've decided, you know what? Maybe we should get through some stuff. The one we got through is on HBO Max. In 2019, CNN did a series called The Movies that was executive produced by Tom Hanks and his production partners. They look at the history of American cinema. So there's the early years, and then there is the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. And it gives you sort of this overview of what was going on, and there's some really interesting stuff, and you get to play this game if you want of like, oh, I've seen that movie, or I haven't seen that movie, or in the early years, which goes from the beginning of film up through the 50s, not as many. And then you start picking them up. There's a whole bunch of films we're like, oh, we should see that. We should see that. Now, did we write those down? We did not. Will we see them? Probably not. But at least at the time, we thought we should see them. So it's on HBO Max. Each episode is an hour and 24 minutes long. I would suggest, if you're going to watch it, the intro, which is non-skippable, is a minute 30 for every episode. It basically shows you a clip of every film that has ever been made. The first time you're like, oh, I know that one, and oh, where's that from, or whatever. And then after that, just fast forward because wow. I mean
That's a long intro.
that's
It's
like,
like,
at one
you
point
remember the
Lisa's like, is this
newsroom?
the show?
Remember the newsroom intro and how long that went on? Like,
Yeah.
seriously, already. I don't need to see the satellite. I've seen it. I saw it last week. I saw it the week before. Fine, whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, if you like movies, I mean, it covers stuff. There's some stuff it sort of, sometimes leaves out. Learned all sorts of interesting, actually learned some stuff about filmmaking in the 30s and the 40s. And, then they touch on how films, how films are both pushing the culture and reflecting of the culture and things. And anyway, if you like films, it's really, it's worth it to sit down and kind of go through all of those. So, and it was on CNN. So it's, they've got a lot of directors, they have actors sitting there talking about it, kind of standard pop culture kind of thing.
I remember this thing. Yeah, it was when you said it was on CNN. It's now on HBO Max, but
Yes.
originally it aired on CNN. I remember this thing. I have watched a couple of these episodes. They're really good. I've not gotten
Yes.
through
Yeah.
all of. Yes, yes, highly recommend. Even though I
And
haven't
that's why
seen them
they're
all.
and that's why they're an hour and 24 minutes long, because on CNN they would have been 2 hours and you don't get
But
any of the commercials, which is why it's a weird exactly an hour and 24. So anyway, that's what we both are watching and completed. So yay for us. What are you watching?
we watched RuPaul season 14, episode 3 last
Okay.
week.
Bringing all the queens together. The big
Yes,
show.
yes,
Yes.
yes. Again, it's what we're watching. There's at this point in these seasons, there are too many for me to be able to keep. I can't keep track of everybody.
Yes.
They did 3 runway outfits, and it's like queen after queen
Oh,
after queen after queen after queen after queen after queen after. Enough already. I'm just and so many puns.
yeah,
Anyway,
we actually I was to be so I was pretty annoyed actually because again, there's 14 there's 14 contestants right now.
yes,
And to your point, like that's too many. It is too many. And there's plenty of fodder. You know who's going out. So can we? And then they said, hey, the runway show, it's 3 looks each. And I was like, are you kidding me? And we were watching it, and Lisa wasn't feeling good, and she was sort of laying on me. And then we get to the end of it. We get to the end of the runway show. She's like, I got to go to bed. I can't enjoy this. I'm like, okay, then we go to bed. You know what? It'll be here tomorrow. Mind you, I have now seen 42 looks. The next day, she goes, hey, can we watch Rue? And I said, sure. And she goes, by the way, I was kind of dozing off there, so can we go back to the beginning? Now, I got to be honest with you. Here's the funny part, though. I was just like, this is too many. Why would you do 3 dresses per contestant with 14 contestants? And I'm like, I don't like, that's just too many. And she goes, it's 42. And I'm like, really? No, I mean, it's 3. And she's like, it's 42. And I'm like, no, wait, no, it's, so there's 14, but they're in groups of 7. So there's 2 groups of 7 and each has 3 dresses. And she's like, she's just
40.
staring at me. And I'm like, so no, because it's 7 times 3 times 2. And then that's, and like 45 seconds later, while she's just staring at me, I went, it's 42.
Math is hard.
It really is. I was so angry. It made me stupid.
I was so angry it made me stupid. Show title. Oh.
Now, I know you're just not watching. When we're watching Rue, we're watching it on, we get it through VH1, recorded on YouTube TV. We never start watching. It comes on at 9:00 Friday nights, and we never start watching it at 9:00 because we got to let it buffer so we can fast forward through all the ads. But you pointed out you were sitting through some of the ads. Did you find you were telling me about one of the ads you found odd?
So we're watching on VH1 on Hulu. And mind you, we pay for Hulu Supreme, or I don't know, with a cherry on top or something that's not supposed to have any ads except for the parts where it has ads.
Oh, you got to love advertising. No ads, except when we want to put them there.
So one of the ads was, I texted this to you. I didn't write it down here. GovX.
That sounds about right.
What I remember about it, though, was it was aggressively masculine advertising for first responders and first responder wannabes to purchase equipment or formerly used equipment related to, I don't know, first responding. And I can't stress this enough. Aggressively masculine. And I went, well, this is kind of an odd marketing choice. And I believe you responded with,
I assume what happened was the advertiser said, we want ads on macho shows like UFC, hunting, NASCAR, drag racing, etc.
close enough.
Drag race, close enough. Here's your ad. Successful buy completed.
Can you confirm in that text that was the name? Was it govx.gov?
Govx.com.
Thank you. Yes, I wouldn't want to misquote them. Govx.com. Sweet Lord.
The exclusive online supplier for first responders.
Speaking of aggressively masculine, as I said, we watched Peacemaker. Watched episode 1 there. You know how the Kingsman was bloody and graphic?
Yes.
Ramp that up about 5 times.
Impossible.
Okay, maybe it wasn't that bad. With an extra serving of camp. And at one point, Amy looks at me and says, I know this is supposed to be campy, but I just don't know that I can take this anymore. And we got to the end, and I looked at her. Like I said, I looked at her and said, yeah, I'm not going to force you to watch any more of that. Oh, that's good, because I wasn't watching any more of that. Oh, and then we watched NFL football this weekend, which was fantastic.
It was fantastic.
As bad as week 1 of the playoffs were.
And they were bad.
Oh, boy. But week 2 was fantastic. Holy cow.
I will point out at one point, as people have been effusive over this, right? Over these 4 games, because they've, it's you didn't know who was going to win until the last play, right? Like
right.
Every single game came down to that. And everybody is talking about this may be the greatest weekend of playoff football in the history of the NFL, because that's what we do. But most of the time you hear that, you're like, oh, come on, I bet you there was better stuff in the past. The fact of how close all these games were and they came down, actually, you could make a case this might be amazing. However, I did hear multiple people say the games came down. It was something like the games came down to the last play of the game. And you're like, actually, or it ended with the last play. The games ended with the last play of the game. And you're like, yeah, that's how the games work. There's a last play. And then there's the end. I know what you're trying to say. The games ended with on the last play of all 4 games ended on the last play of the game, as did all other games.
Yeah, it's like saying, what did he die from? Well, he died from a lack of oxygen to the brain, because that's what we all die from. Regardless, at some point there's a lack of oxygen to the brain and you die. Regardless of the rest of the circumstances. Period. Yes.
Yeah. I do have to say, there's part of me, I was watching all this and went, first of all, 2 things. One, if the NFL was this good week in and week out, that would be awesome. And it's not. I mean, it's nowhere near. And I get this is the better teams or whatever. I also thought the NFL, given the way they've screwed up this entire season and the officiating and the problems they've had and everything, the NFL doesn't deserve this. They just lucked out. But what are you going to do?
Well, you could fix the overtime rules for one. You put a pin in that. We want to talk about that next week?
Next week. I have thoughts.
I do too. By the time we get to next week and I actually edit it and we actually release it, we'll be talking about something else. Maybe that's it. That anyway. If you have thoughts about NFL overtime rules, send them to us, because we're going to talk about them. I swear we're going to talk about them next week. Meanwhile,
well, at least one of us is going to talk about them. We're probably going to do a coin flip. One of us is going to get to talk about it. Depending on how that conversation goes, the other person may or may not get a chance to express their views.
Oh. You want to go first? Do you want me to go first? What did you learn?
Okay. All right. So I've gotten a feedback. So this is our 100th episode. And over the course of that, I've gotten some feedback from different people. What would you say? What would you say is the best part of of talking to Todd for the first 100 episodes?
Best segment?
Best part of the entire podcast.
Oh, when we just talk.
Okay, that could be a strong second. I've gotten feedback that the best part is the part that we have nothing to do with, which is our theme song.
Oh. Best part number 1 is the theme song. Best part number 2 is the guests. Best part number 3 is when we go off script and actually just talk to each other and don't pay any attention to anything else. Yes.
Yeah. So our theme song, it's Happy Boy by Kevin MacLeod. And I was thinking, we've been doing this for 100 episodes. I enjoy the music every time I hear it. When we record, we kind of dance a little bit to it in the car. It just makes you feel good. And you know what? It brings tubas into the world, and we need more tubas in the world. So I was thinking, I mean, admittedly, you and I haven't made a dime out of this thing, but neither is poor Kevin MacLeod, and he's contributed. And I thought, you know what? After 100 episodes, we've been using this as royalty-free music through the Creative Commons license. And I thought, you know what? After 100 episodes, we should kick some money towards Kevin.
Did you really?
So I'm sending you.
We have a song license. Oh my God, look at that. Oh, but he's from Green Bay.
Well, he's no Aaron Rodgers. And while I was there, I also noticed.
Did I just take a shot at Kevin MacLeod?
You did. I also noticed
Aaron Rodgers took. Sorry.
There is a second version of Happy Boy that I believe doesn't include the tubas. I also licensed that. So I thought, what the heck? So there is Happy Boy and Happy Boy End Theme. And the Happy Boy End Theme actually has two different versions in it. Again, I don't think either one of them has the tuba, and I don't know that we will ever play it. However, I figured we should be paying him for use of the song. So we are now officially licensed to use Happy Boy in our creative endeavors. And what I learned was it was amazingly affordable. And had I known it was this little, I would have done this a long time ago.
Was it? It's just $5, wasn't it? $5 a song for as long as you want to use it as many times.
It was like 20 euros a song. Why somebody from Green Bay is being charged in euros, I don't know. But anyway, it's like 20 euros. So it's like 25, 30 bucks a song or something. Or, well, I went to ones, it's either 30, somewhere around 30 bucks a song. So anyway, what I would suggest though, but I will let you, because you do all of this, what I would suggest is we no longer have to give credit. We no longer have to say the name of the song. We don't have to give any credit. We just get to use it. However, I would say, and we've gotten feedback to make the end shorter. I think we do continue to include, we haven't talked about this. I do think we need to include that the theme is Happy Boy by Kevin MacLeod. We could even say it's available on Incompetech. I think we still give him the shout out. We just can drop the attribution license. Or if we forget to drop it, we are in the clear. But anyway, that's what I learned is it turns out licensing royalty-free software or royalty-free theme songs for podcasts can actually be not that expensive. So anyway, that was my other surprise to you for our 100th episode. What did you learn this week?
So I read an article this week about things that the pandemic made worse. And that may not have been the exact title. And maybe it was things that got worse during the pandemic. I don't know. But I mean, besides, number one would be, the pandemic, right? Things that people did or things that people do now that we didn't do before that have made the world a worse place. And like number 7 on the list was podcasting.
What? Wait, what?
Yes. And their theory was that, before the pandemic, if you wanted to do a podcast, you had to, and people that were doing podcasts, you had a studio and you had a script and you had, editors and sponsors and all that. It was really organized. And now anybody with a USB mic and a dream, and sometimes not even that, thinks the world needs to hear them rant for an hour a week about whatever. And I went, hey. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
The music is Happy Boy by Kevin MacLeod. You can subscribe to Talkin' to Todd wherever you get your pods. Just search Talkin' and the number 2. No G, no space. You can tweet us on Facebook. Pretty sure that's how that works. You can check out our award-winning merch on Zazzle. You can leave us a voicemail. You can still leave us a voicemail at also CPA. That's 515-257-6272. You can stop by and see us at the Tuba City home office. We want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank our listeners. You can send your feedback to feedback@talkingtotodd.com. Todd?
Just think about what you said. I think I'm a little offended now. We're not just two guys with a USB mic. We're two guys with two USB mics.
Thanks, Eli.
Well, you think we ought to wrap this one up?
Yeah, I think we probably ought to wrap this one up. So, and that's, right on an hour. So by the time we get this thing edited down, fixing it in post, we should be right at an hour.
It'll be 10 good minutes of material, and then everything else is all in the afterwards. Here's the insight, and then all the other crap.
So at this point, for anybody who's managed to stick with us for this entire hour, we thank you. This is a sporadically produced podcast, so we really don't know when the next one will be, but tune in again next time. You got anything else for a close?
No, you're doing a pretty good job.
Oh. Thanks. So until next time, this is Dwayne Johnson and
Todd Prince. For this
whole house. We'll talk to you next time on Talking to Todd.
It's a ToddCast.
Darn right it is.